Good afternoon, my Teaserking family. Hope you enjoyed my football video. A couple free picks there, the Buffalo Baltimore over and the Iowa State Houston College under. Looking at gold, paper gold that is, 26.72.41, up 15. It got up to 26.85. Then you see this 9.30 drop all the way to 26.59. And then it bounces back. It got this 26.77 and back. Now it's about 26.72. So overall, holding well, looking for 2,700 any day now. Silver. Now let's look at the silver chart. You're going to like this, but it's a little confusing. It gets up to 32.67. Oh, by the way, it's the same exact chart as the gold chart. Gets up to 32.67 and then starts down about 8:45. No, about 8 o'clock, a little after 8. That's Europe doing it. 32.67 it got to. Then it went down to 31.82, and now it's 32.01. It did get back to 32.25. Now, after watching Mark McGuire's, which you might have to do again, I thought it was 30, maybe it's 33 that breaks it into the 50s. But they're really close. Again, are they keeping it low for, the price fix for the Tomahawk missiles and the silver needed for solar panels? They shouldn't. It should be free market. There's a very low supply of it, and there's a very high demand between the solar panels and these, obviously, missiles. They need a lot of silver. We don't know how much silver there is. We don't know how much silver. I mean, I know people that have a ton of silver. We know Luke's got 2 big boxes of silver. So I don't really know what to make of it. I mean, we know how much there is, but we know the demand is outpacing the supply. So I want 10 and there's only 5. That means price has to go up. And I'm not the only one wanting it, so it makes it more. So I might go to the store and get another 20 ounces. I got a lot, but what'll really make us is getting the silver price up. The gold price is up, but how much gold do we have? Do we have 100 ounces of it? But if we have 100 ounces of gold, I guarantee you we've got 1,000 ounces of silver. If you have 100 ounces of gold, because it wasn't very expensive. So when gold goes up $100 and you have 100 ounces, you just made $100,000, or you made $10,000 for every 100 it goes up. However, if I have 1,000 ounces of silver and it goes up $100, I made $100,000. That's the big kick you get from silver if we can ever get this to go up the way the market is dictating it. So bear that out in mind that, unless you if you own 1,000 ounces of gold, you're great. You've been retired for a while. But once silver goes, I think most of us who are smart enough to have gold and silver have a lot of silver because it was so cheap. I'll buy another. I would buy 20-ounce white containers all the time. I'd go in. Enough gold. Silver, so it's $25. I'd go out of principle and buy 2 of the 20-ounce Eagles, or just the bullet, or this. And as you can see, these are cheap enough. Anyway, so a couple of stories for you. So I'm in the pool talking with the lifeguard who is with us. He's buying the gold, and I'm telling him it's 2,700. He's freaking out. He's like, shit, I got to buy more, but he doesn't have any money. I said, just skip school, or, he's in college. I said, just skip the semester, just buy gold. That after then you can go back. I mean, there's no limit on college. And then, but you can't go back for the gold. I mean, you're stuck. Once it's gone, you're not going to be able to find it, and it's going to be very expensive. So we started talking about, you get it, and I'm teaching you. How come if I go to other people, they don't get it? And this came from a conversation I had with Jenna, where she doesn't understand why I help people. Just stay to yourself, she says. I says, well, no. I said, you don't understand. If I know the Titanic's going to sink and you're on the Titanic, I'm trying to warn you, because that's the way I live my life. If I can help people, I do. That's why I help Jenna and Daria. It's just my nature. So if I know that, if I'm like Noah, if I know the ark, if I know I need an ark, and I know there's going to be this huge thing, don't you try to tell people. And that's really kind of what's going on here. If I know the dollar's collapsed, the economy's collapsed, the $36 trillion debt, $1 trillion in interest, the money's gone. And if I know the money's worthless and your only lifeboat's gold, I look at it as I should tell people, because people are blindsided. Why are people, not only why are they blindsided, but why don't they listen? This has been haunting me. Football is different. I can just say, bet against the Lions and you'll make money, and you'd bet against the Lions and you'd make money. And then it would stick in your head. Wow, that guy gave me, that's why I give free picks, because I'm trying to help people make money. So then they can come and, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. I'll buy his picks. But in this, I can't do anything. What can I do? I can't, I'm not giving out gold. All I can say is gold is 2,000. And I says, well, it's going to go up. And then it hits 2,400. I says, it's going to go up. Now it's 2,500. It's going to go up. Now it's 26. Now it's 27. At what point do you go, wow, that guy knows what he's talking about? I have no idea. I don't know if people even notice gold, if they're into their own little stocks and all they do is they own Amazon going, oh, look at all the money I'm making. So I'll give you a comment from Jenna, which kind of perturbs me. So this was her comment. So Natasha's boyfriend have good money and good job. And she's telling me not to worry about other people. You must live your life. And I says, I'm just trying to help. I'm not worried about them. I'm just trying to help them. If they don't want to listen and stay on the Titanic, it will sink. Not all people ask you about help with money. Yes, he not want to listen about how to save money. He had a different opinion about money. It's normal. All people different. And that's my point. So here's Natasha's her friend who she goes to visit in Berlin, and this is her boyfriend, and he's not into gold. And we're basically, so I'm basically saying, well, it's your girlfriend's boyfriend. I don't want them to go broke. It's more personal with them. They're going broke. Now, Jenna doesn't care because I got all the gold, so he's not worried about it. She's like, I don't care. Just, you take care of me. But with this, I ain't taking care of the girlfriend. And the problem is, so the guy's got money. I'm not arguing if he has money or not. What I'm arguing is his money's going to be worth zero. And he doesn't know it. And he should be buying gold, but he doesn't, he doesn't want to really know. He doesn't want to listen to it. So basically, this is what happens. And, what uh, yeah. I was talking to one guy in the bike at the club, and I'm telling him, we're watching the stock ticker because that happened to be on the TV as we're working out. And he kind of goes, well, says something. Well, I'm not into gold or something. And, says, what do you know? I said, well, I'm an Austrian economist. He says, you're not. You call me a liar? I'm not an Austrian economist. Why aren't I? Why aren't I not an Austrian economist? Do I not look like an Austrian economist? Like, do they look like something? I go, yeah, I am. He said, when did you get your master's? I said, 1995. Wow, that was a long time ago. Like, oh, well, but did I forget or did things change? What are you driving at? So even though I'm an Austrian economist that he doesn't believe I am, and I'm telling him how the dollar's collapsing and the market's collapsing and to buy gold, he doesn't want to listen. Yeah, I don't want to listen to you. I'm an economist. No, I don't believe you. Okay. It's beyond me that people will not uh, listen to it. $46.72, that close. So it's just, why don't they listen to it? Because they didn't ask for the help. I find the people that ask for the help listen. I find when I teach class, you guys listen because you've understood what I'm saying. You figured out that what I'm saying makes sense, and it either changed your mind or you've seen the light and going, yeah, this makes sense. Plus, he nails it. He said it would go up at 2,300, 2,400, 2,500, 2,600. Now it's 2,700, 2,672. I'm telling you, and this is what's happening. So I don't know at what point you believe me, but you guys do. But again, I don't know what it is about people. That's the psychology. And it goes into football, and it goes into women, and it goes into golf, and not golf, but into gold and everything else. It's the same thing with women. Women will date a guy and say, I'm not dating another guy. All guys are the same. Yeah, we all want sex. Jeez. And women don't want sex. Come on. So that's where you get it. So they don't want to listen to it. And if you tell them anything different, they don't really want to believe it. It's a lot to prove it. And so with gold, they've not seen it go up, but they don't understand it's because it's manipulated. And if it's manipulated and it doesn't go up because it's manipulated, they have no idea. Right? They're not interested in it. It hasn't gone up because it's manipulated. So you sit there and you're like scratching your head going, do you not understand what manipulation is? JP Morgan, oh, I don't believe that. Whatever it is, they won't believe it. Let's see. So it's just, the barbecue guy had to explain to him, the owner, saying it's brics. That's what's different about it. So this is where it becomes, if you want to survive in a normal, healthy life, you buy gold and silver. You got to get off the boat. And how do you explain getting off the boat to people? That's why I use Titanic, because it's exactly the same situation. You have to get off the boat onto a lifeboat. And you're in a dollar this has no value. You have to stop using it. only it's sinking, but nobody understands it's sinking. No, it's fine. It's the dollar. Well, there's the $36 trillion debt. The fact it takes 2,700 of these now to buy the ounce of gold. And as soon as silver catches up, you'll see you'll need 1,000 of those to buy your silver, or if not more. It has no value. It's worth 1 cent of what it used to be. So $1 worth a penny, $100 worth $1. You go to the store. I just went to the store. It's $50. I got my veggies and eggs and a little salad dressing and some dark chocolates. I didn't buy anything, and it was $52. Did they raise prices? No. That's my dollar having no value. And that's what it is. It's the dollar will not buy what it used to. That's why I say it's worthless. But you can so you have 100 grand in the bank in dollars. Do you keep the 100 grand in the bank, or do you sell it for gold? I mean, it's a very simple problem. How do we problem solve it? Well, let's see. If I hold my 100,000, which is now worth about 5,000, 100,000 in the 1970s, or watching Leave It to Beaver in the 60s versus now, houses were $5,000. Now they're 500 grand. It's the same house. So if anything, things should be even cheaper because you've made advancements, right? Better wallpaper, better wood, better procedures. They can paint better and quicker. I keep wanting to say wallpaper, the plaster or whatever you call that. The kitchen, the appliances are cheaper. The electricity, the plumbing, all that stuff is much better. So really, you're getting a much better house. But the value of the dollar has dropped. So it's virtually worthless. So problem one is I got 100 grand in the bank. I keep it in the bank thinking I've got 100 grand or 500 grand. It doesn't matter. Let's say 500. That makes a bigger boom. So you got 500 grand. You go, oh, I'm fine. I got 500 grand. And I'm sitting there saying it's worthless. And you're going, no, it's 500 grand. I go, but try to use the 500 grand. And what are you going to buy with it? Not a lot. So the 500 grand is a big number, but it has no value. We'll go to the grocery store and look how much it costs just to get a normal shop is probably $200-$300, and you're buying nothing. And so that's where it becomes, what do I do here? Because in a sense, the problem is you're not aware you have a problem. And here comes little old me going, you got a problem. And they're all going, no, I don't. My 500 grand, 500. I got a lot of money because I've never had a lot of money before. Now I'm near retirement and I got a lot of money and I like it. And I'm not getting rid of it. I don't want to spend it. I just want to hold it for retirement. Granted, that's a great idea. I'm not saying get rid of it just to spend it. I think people misunderstand if you buy gold, it's money, it's an asset. It'd be like you buying a Rolex. So you have 500 grand and you bought a $500,000 Rolex. You can sell the Rolex back for 500 grand. Did you spend any money? No, you substituted. You traded money for a Rolex. The Rolex is worth more than the money, right? So people are thinking that when you're saying you got to get rid of your money and buy gold, they don't want to get rid of their money. That's their security blanket. So I don't want to get rid of my money. That's what they're saying. And you're kind of like, you're kind of like, you're not getting it. You're thinking that if you buy, so this was like $29 I bought. So I traded $29 for this. But now the $29 is probably worth $2. But this is still worth $29. Now this is worth $32 because it went up in value. If this was gold, it'd be worth a lot more. But all I did was trade it. I still have this. And if I need the money back, I can go back to the store and say, give me back the piece of shit toilet paper, Monopoly money. That's now worth like the $30 is worth about 5 cents. Because go to the store and try to buy it. What are you going to buy? Broccoli, cauliflower, and lettuce, and that's $20. So the first problem is I don't want to get rid of my money. I'm insecure. It's a security blanket. I can retire with this money, but if I lose it, so they think if you buy gold, you're losing the money. What they don't realize is if they hold on to the money, it's already gone. That's why that's why this is like this, because that's what this is worth, 1 cent. If that, I don't even think it's worth one. So you hold on to the dollars and they're not worth anything. They're worthless. So I'm sure if you had Confederate money in the Civil War and you held on to it, well, it's great, but it's worthless. Even the greenbacks that Lincoln came out with went bankrupt. So you must understand that if you give up your money for gold, you're actually making you've actually solved the problem correctly. You've gotten onto the lifeboat. The gold can't go down. It's only going up, especially now. And you don't really have an alternative. You had to get out of the dollar because it's been inflated and or printed to death, inflated the supply of dollars. I'm going to go into that definition in a minute. So what you don't realize is the dollar's gone. So 500,000 Monopoly money dollars is zero. And if you can quickly get it into gold and silver, now $500,000 of gold, let's say. So let's say you bought gold with it a year ago, 2 years ago, and I started this, but let's say it was 2,000 an ounce and you had 500,000 and you bought 200 ounces, 250 ounces at 2,000. Is that right? 100 ounces at 2,000 is 200,000. Yeah. So let's say you got 250 ounces. Now it's worth 2,700. You've made $700 times 250. So you made 100. Every time you made 100, you made 25 grand, I think. And so 720. So you've made $175,000 on that investment without risk, for doing nothing but getting out of your dollar. You're really getting out of your dollar. And I think that's what scares people. They've saved, they finally got their 401ks. They finally got, Luke's friend, $1 million. And they think if they buy gold, they somehow lose the money. They lose their security blanket. Why would I get rid of, as Luke's friend, why would I get rid of the dollar for, they don't understand the gold part of it, but why would I get rid of the dollar? Why would I stop? Look at how much money I'm making, because there's no value in your money. That's why. So with that said, why is the dollar losing value? So let's get into that. Why are you getting rid of it into gold? So I rang up this, why are prices used to measure inflation? Well, actually, we want to go back one. Well, they don't really answer what causes inflation. Inflation is caused by printing the money, inflating the supply of money. That's why it's inflation. You've inflated the supply of money, and the more money that's out there, the less it's worth. So your money's worth less because they print it. And then, so that's what you're fighting. You're fighting the Fed and the JP Morgan, who has a monopoly on money, and they print and print and print. They pay, how did they pay the $1 trillion on the debt? They printed it. that affects the value of the money. So the money's worth less. Okay. Now, what the Fed wants to do is measure the inflation, and they choose by prices. Prices are used to measure inflation because they directly reflect the cost of goods and service in an economy, allowing economists to track how the overall price level changes over time. But we don't care about price level changes. We care about the money supply printed. The CPI, or the Consumer Price Index, which measures the retail prices of goods and services at a specific time, is one of the most commonly used inflation measures because it reflects changes to a consumer's cost of living. Does it? I don't know about that. What does price have to do with inflation? Increases in production costs, such as raw materials and wages. Inflation is a measure of the rate of rising prices. No, it's not. Of goods and services in an economy. Inflation can occur when prices rise due to increases in costs. See, so these are Keynesians writing this, so this is why it gets confusing. If you were to read this, right, you're getting wrong information. Inflation is a measure of rate of rising prices. No, it's not. Inflation is the increase in the money supply, which makes the value of the money worth less. So inflation is making the money lose value. That's what it's doing. Plain and simple. The prices are an effect of the money losing purchasing power. So if I printed $50, they're worth a lot. If I print $5 trillion, they're not worth the same as printing $50. Or as I show my Mahomes card, that's 50 count versus a Mahomes card that is not printed. There's no number. It's a million. That's obviously worth more than the million printed. So as you start printing too much dollars, the value of the dollar goes to zero every time. Ask the Romans, the French, the Spanish, Amsterdam, the English, and us. And if it's not backed by gold, you've got to have an anchor to your money. The dollar's worth the gold. But when you take gold out of the equation, the dollar's worth nothing. It's just a piece of paper with a number on it and a president. It doesn't mean anything. It has no value. So when you're looking at it, you see they're printing and printing and printing. That's the inflation, but they don't want to tell you that because that means the government fucked up by printing too many dollars. Oh, we can't have that. We got to blame Putin, or we got to blame people on rising prices. So what are they saying? Inflation is a measure of the rate of rising prices. It is not. Inflation is the printing of the dollar, making the dollar lose its value. And so how do we measure how much value the dollar's lost? Now, we can say a Coke in 1971 cost a dime and now it's $3. And we say, wow, it lost a lot. We can say gold was $36 or $32 an ounce in 71 or 72, and now it's 2,700. Geez, the dollar lost a lot of purchasing power. So you're kind of using a dollar to measure the purchasing power, saying, God, it lost a lot of purchasing power. So that's kind of what the prices reflect. The problem with prices is the prices are free market. So if they sell M&Ms, they used to be $1 or $5, okay, and they went up, but now they haven't gone up because M&Ms can't sell them for $10, even though the dollar's lost its value, because people won't spend that much on M&Ms. So that's where the flaw in the prices goes down. Or a Camry, as I've used. I bought my Camry 2018 for $24,000. Now it's $35,000. But nobody can afford it, so they had to lower their price down to about 28 now. So if you look 1 year, it was 35. Now it's 28. Oh, that's deflation. There's no such thing. That's a Keynesian term. Prices going down are because the money's worthless and it takes more dollars to buy things because the dollar's lost its value. So now it takes me more dollars to pay my electric bill, my food, whatever, clothes. And so since it's got less value, you don't have it doesn't buy as much. So therefore, I can't spend more on M&Ms. I can't spend $10 on M&Ms. I can't afford $5. So then you start seeing, well, buy one get one free, or buy one get one half off, or Coca-Cola is $3. Buy one get one 50% off. And the problem is you can't use prices because it's being restricted, right? Because people just don't have the money. So therefore, you can't buy the prices. You can't use the prices. So really, how do we measure the value of the dollar? I would say gold, but gold's been manipulated. They've kept the gold price down. So it's got to be something that's free market. Maybe it's tennis rackets and golf clubs. But in golf, they made modifications. They made the ball go farther. So through productivity changes, it's not the same. With a car, well, okay, a car used to be 3,500 on Leave It to Beavers. Now, okay, mine was 23,000 or 24,000. It's now 35,000. So what is that? But is that the same car that Leave It to Beaver had? Similar, but that's the idea. It only took me 3,500 to buy a car for the Beaver, and it's now roughly, let's say, 30,000 to buy a car now. But how do you value the dollar? We're valuing silver and gold. This is $32 an ounce, and gold is 2675. Let's call it 2,700. That's where it's going. So it takes more dollars to buy it. So what does that say? That's really the point of this is that, hey, Luke, 2,700, bud. And guess what's at $32 about to go through the roof. I showed an Andy Scheckman yesterday where Andy's, yeah, I think you're getting happy there. We're this close from Capitol Grill. So you have no way of measure, like gold's 2,700, silver's 32. What is the value of this? See, this is not valued. Why isn't this valued? They can value this versus the euro and the Ukrainian and the Hungarian and the Swiss, but we don't really know what the value of this is. Now we know it's worth about 1 penny. That's what we know it's worth. But it's very hard because with productivity, like a VCR was, I spent $900 in the late 70s because I won so much money at football that I could buy one of the first big VCRs. But then improvements came up and they made it better and easier and lighter. Competition came in, you could get one for $100, $200. Well, that's not deflation. That's productivity gains. That's what we're trying to get. So that's how you were able to price the VCR. But how do you price the dollar, right? Can't wait for that steak. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy that steak. Absolutely. So the way they're pricing the dollars with prices, but they don't include food. They don't include utilities, electric and heat. They don't include a lot of shit. What are they including? What do they include? Coffee mugs, whiskey? I mean, what, pens? Is this how they're pricing? And inflation does not go down because you're still printing the money, right? You've just printed $1 trillion to pay the fucking interest on the debt. Where did that money come from? Thin air? You printed that to pay it off. That's another trillion into the thing, which makes the dollar worth even less. That's why I say zero. Now, Egon says it's a penny. It's 99% gone, and I say it's 100. We just don't know it yet, right? It's sort of like we're on the Titanic, and I say we hit the iceberg, we're sunk, but we really haven't sunk yet. The boat's still going in the water, so we're not calling it sunk. And this still has a little value. Like I can fly and meet Luke in Pittsburgh, and we can go to the Steeler game, and we can go do that. But really, it's just with paper, it's really useless. If I was running any type of business, or like I do with Teaserking, as soon as I get paid, I'm off to buy more gold and silver. I'm not holding. I don't want that money in there. So that's the problem with they want to. So if you ask the typical guy, inflation is a measure of the rate of rising prices of goods and services in an economy. Inflation can occur when prices rise due to increases in production costs, such as raw materials and wages. That's not even close to reality. That's got nothing to do with inflation. Yet this is what the Keynesians want you to believe if they put it on Google. And who is this? Investopedia. I love this one. What causes inflations and price increases? Inflation can occur when prices rise due to increases in production costs, such as raw material and wages. That's how inflation can concern. So their whole concept of inflation is prices going up because of a limited supply or production or wages going up. So what does that have to do with prices? No. What does that have to do with inflation? So what they're trying to say is if things cost more due to supply chain or limited things, that's inflation. That's not inflation. This is, I think, our biggest struggle with me trying to help is this is because of printing the money. It loses the value. It has nothing to do with prices. And you're not measuring the dollar because you can't. You don't know what the dollar is worth. We can only say it takes 2,700 to buy the ounce of gold that it took 32. But even the 2,700 isn't accurate. That's with derivatives pushing the price down. If you got rid of the price being pushed down, that's why I say gold would be $10,000 to $15,000 an ounce, silver easily $3,000 an ounce. Because when the dollar, if it was just simply the dollar losing value, gold goes up, and we don't, sit there and fuck around with the gold. We don't push it back down. If we just let it free market, like my Canadian club or the Mantle card or anything, how do you think the Montana card's worth 110,000? Because there is no downing. They just let they let the public push it up. We got an auction. I'll give you 50 grand for it. Fine. Oh, it went for 50. There's another auction, 60. Now it's 110. The Mantle card's $80,000 for a 1968 Topps PSA 9, not 10, 9, because that's what the market said it was worth. The Jordan rookie, 500 grand. It didn't get suppressed, so gold did. So do we measure inflation based on the Jordan rookie card? I saw it in the late 80s or early 90s. It was I could have bought it ungraded for maybe $300, $200. Now, was it a PSA 10? No, but they didn't have PSA 10s back then. So let's say I could have got it for $300, and now it's worth 500,000. Is that inflation? No, that's supply and demand. That's people wanting the Jordan, but it's limited because there's not a lot of PSA 10 Jordans. So therefore, the price goes up, which is my whole thesis on the gold and the silver. If you would let it run, it's going up because of demand, not because of the dollar going down, which is what Mark McGuire and Alligator and Egon, that's what they think. Well, it's not the dollar. It's not gold going up, it's the dollar going down, and they're full of shit. It's strictly the demand for gold pushing the price up, like the demand for a Jordan card pushed that price up. And the Mantle card and everybody, Roberto Clemente, or Paul Scanes, because Nick's here. And Luke's here. That's the point. But that's economics, right? It's pure and simple economics. That's what it is. If more people want something that there isn't a lot of, the price goes up. That's what's gold and silver right now. But you can't have the other side, people pushing the price down. You don't have a free price. So you can't really measure the dollar. You can say it's lost at least, well, the difference between $32 an ounce and 72 to $2,700 an ounce in 2024. So it's at least minimum, it's lost all that. So it basically has no value. So what's going to happen, Luke, tell your friend that he's not going to be able to buy gold because they're not going to take his dollars. There's a friend of this whole comment came on because of Jenna saying, don't, Natasha's boyfriend doesn't want to hear about that. And I'm saying, but if he doesn't get out of dollars, he's going to be broke. And I don't want Natasha's boyfriend who wants to take care of Natasha to be broke. I'm doing it for Jenna and Natasha, right? Like the boyfriend is going to be broke, even though he has a lot of money, like your friend with the $4 million in the 401k. It's monopoly money, though. And that's back to where I was at the beginning of this thesis, which was going, why don't people listen? Because why don't they turn their money into gold and silver? If you have 500 grand, why don't you put it into gold and silver? Why do you leave it in money when, because you don't know the money's going to zero and it's worthless. But when somebody tells you that, you don't want to listen to it. Why don't you want to listen? Because you don't want to admit that you're wrong, that you've got 500 grand and it's worthless. Nobody wants to know it's worthless, but it is. And when somebody tells you, you should fucking listen to it. Look, my buddy who I used to work with owns 1/8 of a 17,000 acre land package in New Mexico, right on the border of Mexico. They just leased a few acres for $52 million. Wow. Well, how did they get so much? That's incredible. So, okay, is it dollars or gold did they get for it? And are they going to turn the 52 million into gold like they should? So, okay, so now here's the problem. They've got 52 million of this. So basically they got nothing, right? Although they don't know it. They're dancing, they have 52 million. And what we're saying is you better turn it into this in gold or you're fucked and you just got nothing for it. And that, how do you tell people that? How do you explain to this guy with the 52 million? It's get it in gold, right? That's what we tell Bobby. We tell Bobby, instead of getting $1 million a year from the Mets, to get it in gold. And he tried. He said he tried to get it in gold. And they didn't, they turned him down. And I said, well, then as soon as you get it, you turn it into gold. But it's not worth the same because the dollar keeps losing value because they keep printing it. I mean, it's logic. You can see prices going up, the value of the dollar dropping. You probably see it in tennis rackets. I'm sure when you started, it was $50 for a tennis racket. Now it's $500. That's a Jimmy Connors. I love that guy. He doesn't own gold. His dad purchased it 30 years ago. No, I understand he doesn't own gold. But what I'm saying is he just got in $52 million, or him and his partners. They need to turn it into gold because it's not worth anything. They just got monopoly money. But how do you explain to them to put it into gold because what you got is worthless? You can't. I mean, that's what I struggle with is me and you know it's worthless. The dollar's worthless. And the only way that you're going to keep your money is putting it into gold and silver. Where's he going to find $52 million worth of gold? And this is the problem, but he almost shouldn't take dollars for it. He should take gold and silver for it. So that's really the big problem. Then I was listening to this John Kennedy, a senator from Louisiana, who I like. He's on the banking committee. And he made a comment today where he said this dollar, when Biden and Harris took over, was worth $1. Now we're 75 cents. And I'm like, he thinks inflation's prices, and I'm ready to yell through the TV. It's worth a penny. It's not worth 75 cents. It's worth 1 cent. You've got the right idea, but you got the wrong numbers. It's worth 1 cent. And it's not prices that cause inflation. It's the printing of the money, which they're printing it extremely fast and frivolous. And it's worth, that's why BRICS is coming out with gold, because they know all their currencies are shit. China is hyperinflating now. So one thing I wanted to show you, a video I was watching yesterday where they're just mass producing yuan. They're printing as much as they can. They're fucked. China's gone. They're going into hyperinflation. Japan's right with them. That's why they're selling their dollars, because they need gold, because they're probably printing the money to buy gold, would be my guess. A lot of it's for military. It's not for the people. All the people are starving there. They can't work. There's no jobs. And they're printing money for the military, which, again, it's worthless. And but China's got 65,000 tons of gold, so you can't argue with that. They were smart enough to buy gold, as was Russia and India and Saudi Arabia and South Africa. It bothers me that a lot of these communist countries are joining BRICS, Iran and Venezuela and Argentina. You're like, hey, Argentina is trying to be conservative. There's a border crossing on the property. It's a massive project. No, I get that, and I'm very happy for him. But he needs to get to it to gold. We don't have much time before this dollar collapses. It's worth 1 cent now. How long is it going to be worth 1 cent for? And then do you want to hold something worth 1 cent? But the gold keeps going up and up and up. His 52 million, he can turn into 100 million of gold, but he can't turn the 52 million into 100 million in dollars, because that's just worthless. So John Kennedy's sitting, so he's saying it's worth 75 cents. So he's kind of getting that it's not worth as much because of the printing, but he doesn't get it, not the prices that you look at to determine the value of the dollar and the value of the inflation. The inflation's much, much higher than 2%. That's a bullshit number based on year over year. Why do you measure year over year? Like I said with you with tennis rackets, 5 years ago, what was a tennis racket going for? And now what are they going for? A lot more. But if you looked at last September versus this September, there probably isn't a big change. So you can't look at inflation year versus year. Now you got to go back 5-10 years. You can say, wow, it was $100 for this racket. It's now $5 or $50. That's how you got. I remember buying my golf clubs in 1983. These are Hogan Apex, beautiful clubs I got at Oakland University. I was took a golf class. They were $200, $300. 2-iron through pitching wedge, and then I got customized woods, driver 3-wood, 5-wood. And then I got a Cleveland Voss putter, which I loved. I got to get that back. Fucking, it's in Alabama. But that's the point of it. It's that's where it's at. That same set would probably, if I could even find Hogan Apexes now, probably $2,000. The golf clubs didn't go up. The dollar lost at least 10 times value since 82. So looking at the value of the prices year over year is not a good way to measure it, because like I said, Coke went from $1.50 to $2.95 at Kroger's. But then that was last year. This year, they're still $2.95 because they can't raise the price because nobody will pay. That's why you can't look at prices, but you can't pay for it. So therefore, it becomes a problem. It's like, oh, there's no inflation. And then there's no such thing as deflation. So if Coke goes back down to $1.50, it's not deflation. It's the market wouldn't buy it at $2.95. So they had to go down to the market. Like I say with the Toyota. So I bought the Camry for 24 grand and went up to 35 grand. Nobody would buy it. I actually went in for an oil change, and I explained to the sales manager and the finance manager, the market's here at 25,000. You're trying to sell it at 35. You can't sell any because You're way over market. Here's where the market is. You got to come down. Next time I came in, they were trying to sell them for 28,000. Aha. So I do. People do listen to my teaching, and that's the point of it. It's you can't just raise prices. You've got to hit the market, and you can't. If the market's used to paying $2 and you try to sell it for $5, the market's going to say "fuck you," and it just won't buy it. And that's what happens. That's like these electric cars. Nobody's paying $100,000 for a Tesla. You got to be out of your fucking mind. All right, land ownership should hold through, right? Depends who it's with, because remember, the banks are going to fuck everybody over. Let me think about that. I would imagine all real assets will hold some kind of value and be revalued in new gold-backed currency. That's absolutely. So you own your Rolex. So like Nick owns a Rolex, and let's say he paid $25,000 for it. It goes out in dollars and then gets revalued in gold or gold-backed currency or silver, close to what it's worth. But he'll get a good chunk of gold for it. Let's say it's $50,000. You'd probably get a half ounce of gold for it. The land, I mean, your house is going to, again, go to zero and get revalued in gold. So you're going to be very happy and comfortable living in your house that you paid 2 ounces of gold for. Because the people will be desperate. They won't have, they'll be in dollars, like Natasha's boyfriend's in dollars. And then when he starts crying because he didn't listen, Jenna asked me a question which really ticked me off. She said, well, how do you know? Did you read it somewhere? Did you see it on the news? Like, how are you getting your source? Let me read this because it really kind of pissed me off. Not all people ask you help with money. I'm not saying he asked me help. I'm not waiting for people to ask me for help. You guys aren't asking for help. I'm telling you what's going on, and then you can make your decision. Why you think you can understand? Did you study economics, or are you reading, or are you watching the news? Now, she knows I got a master's in economics. I believe, I'm sure I've told her that. And then I said, I studied in my master's program. I know it very well. I had a very good teacher for economics, and I learned it, and it was Austrian. What are you teaching them? How to spend money correctly? No, or put money in the basement and not have cash and buy gold. Master's program, all people can have that laptop. So you had teacher, it's very well, you are smart. All people understand what's going on with money. Really? All people except for this idiot friend of hers. So that's what pissed me off. She's like, why do you think did you study economics? There, I got a fucking master's in it. I've told you that. Why are you even questioning this? So anyway, if you go on to Google, they don't understand inflation's printing the money. That's what we're struggling with also, the Keynesians who don't think you can just print and print and print and think everything's prices. It's a good excuse, but it's not accurate. But anyway, so back to the Toyota again. So it's 24,000. He puts it to 35. He's over market. I'll put it here. He's over market, and he lowers it to 27. Is that deflation because he couldn't sell it at 35? No. The price went up 27, but then from there, did the price go up? Probably not. Oh, so inflation's over because he didn't raise it from 27 to 30. He couldn't if he wanted to because nobody's going to fucking buy it. That's the problem. I was 2 years old in 83. What were we talking about, 83? Leave it, Lever. Too bad we didn't buy gold then. The 2-ounce house scenario seems so far off. Oh, no, it's so close. I guess the world will have to turn on a dime. Will it be an overnight revaluation? Probably. Well, it's a master's in finance, but I took 4 economic classes. So it's basically learning Austrian economics with the finance. So, but to say I don't know economics is wrong. But the master's, there was maybe, I think, 5 finance classes, and I took 3 Austrian economic classes. So how many more would I have taken to get the master's in economics? Maybe 1 more class. Actually, I took 4. I did a directed study of the Austrian theory of the trade cycle versus the stock market. I took macroeconomics, microeconomics, and Austrian economics, and then the thesis, which is saying, well, when the trade cycle when the rates go up, these stocks get hurt, these stocks go up. And I went through the whole, 15 steps of the Austrian trade cycle. And then I would show what stocks did good. So in other words, when interest rates go up, the auto stocks are going to get killed because it makes the autos more expensive. So you don't want to buy GM and Ford. They're going to go down. But when interest rates are 1 or 0, then you want to buy the car stocks because it's cheaper to buy the car. So it's the fixed assets. And the moral of the story is candy and Coke and stuff like that. You want to, that kind of stuff is always going to, like Coke, you're always going to buy Coke or Pepsi or Frito, all the little $1 and $2 food items. Are you going to buy in inflationary recession times? Because you always are buy them, you'll just buy cheaper goods. You're not going to buy fancy steaks. You're going to buy hamburgers. So you're just going to buy that. You're going to buy beer, not champagne, when interest rates rise. So that was the kind of scenario. So yeah, I look at it as a master's in economics as much as finance. And as I see what's going on in the economic world, I'm beginning to realize I'm a lot smarter than I thought I was. The world turning on a dime. What happened in the Roman Empire? Did they, it took a while, but once they realized it, the Turks invaded them, and that was the end of the Roman Empire. It was probably an overnight thing where all the Turks, the Ottomans came, and that was it. Bye-bye Rome. So I think you're seeing it like it's the boat sinking. The Titanic didn't sink in 2 minutes. It took 2-3 hours to sink. But I think that's the whole point of it. We're sinking now. So you're seeing it. We're going through that phase now. And then soon you can see nobody wants the money. There's 159 countries that want to join BRICS. That's 159 countries not using the dollar. They don't want the dollar, and the catch is they all want to go on the gold-backed BRICS currency. That's the catch. So as they see that, they go, yeah, I want to join too, because the U.S. is bullying me, and if I said anything, they'd kill all of us. But if we're in BRICS, they can't kill all of us. They have to kill 159 countries, and they're not going to do that. So then you have that's what's going on. All these countries are getting off the dollar and onto gold. So now nobody wants the dollar. It makes the dollar worthless anyway, right? So if the dollar's worthless, does it become worthless in the U.S.? If they do price controls, yes. If they don't do price controls, we might still be able to go to Kroger's or Chinese food and still get the meals using dollars. It'll just be a lot more expensive because anything you have to import in will be much more expensive because it's on a gold-backed currency. So I think we're seeing it happen kind of in slow motion, Luke. I think it's coming. I don't know who this person is. Putin today announced alternate financial currency system in BRICS. Well, we know that it's coming October 22nd. That's been announced. Gold-backed currency. I think it's great. But I got a lot of gold waiting for this, so I've been way ahead of the curve. I don't like the way the U.S. bullies people and does all that. So I'm fine. Anytime you have a gold-backed currency, it's much better. It's better for gold. I would get as much of that as I could and not the dollar. If you're going to sell your gold, try to get BRICS gold-backed currency. But he has no choice because the U.S. sanctioned Putin. What is he supposed to do? He can't trade. So he needs this trading currency so he can trade with the rest of the world, except for the U.S. And if the U.S. is stupid enough to not want Russia's money, fine. But yeah, that's really stopping the war. And now apparently we're only there for the minerals that are trillions of dollars worth, which I don't believe that either. If they were worth that much, Russia would have been there 10 years ago, and the U.S. would have been there. You know, Ukraine might have actually dug up their own minerals. So I don't buy that at all. But no, I'm in favor of the BRICS gold-backed currency in October 22nd. It'll make our gold worth a lot more. Luke, did you hear? Did you hear Trump's rally speech where he said we're moving to a golden era? He knows he's the king of gold. Well, yeah. Where's the gold coming from? We don't have any gold in your Fort Knox. I love watching that movie. Die Hard 3. So that would be great. That's the only solution. We have to have gold-backed currency or we're fucked. Because what are you going to come out with? This is worthless. What are you going to come out with? USD number 2, which will not be backed by gold, which is no different than this, and we're all fucked. So yeah, I mean, I'd love it if you had gold. Which one do you prefer? Multipolarity, unipolarity, bipolarity? I prefer. I'm not going to answer the question that way. I'd prefer freedom and independence and competition. So just like what we have now, you could have 52 different companies selling you a TV. I like that. I don't like monopolies. I do not like oligopolies. I prefer free market economics. So I don't know how that answers your question. I guess that's multipolarity, but that's what I would answer it. You want competition. That's why we're in the mess we're in, is because of these fucking JP Morgan having a monopoly on the printing press, printing US dollars, and oops, they didn't turn it off, and oops, now they're worthless, and oops, now we have 36 trillion in debt that we can never pay back, and everybody's fleeing from the dollar because they realize it's worthless. So if you're holding T-bills and you're China and Japan, Germany, you realize you're fucked. You'll never get paid back. So they're dumping them, and they're all buying gold with them because they realize it's the only lifeboat out there. And so if you really think about it, the only real monopoly is gold, because there's no substitute. That and a Porsche. There's no substitute for gold. You can't. It's because you can't print it. The beauty of gold is it comes out of the ground, and that's all there is, and you can't print it. You go to a coin shop with bullshit gold, they won't buy it. They'll check it out, and they'll go, no, this isn't good. You see an auction on eBay from some idiot in China. Silver dollars were like $35 an ounce. So 35. So 5 of them, 71 for, should have been 175. They're trying to sell it for 125. As soon as you see that, just report and delete, because that's bullshit. There's no way you're selling 5 silver ounces for less than $175. Why would you? Why would you sell them for 20? No, bullshit. Fitbit Doggy, I think you're new here. Maybe I've seen you before. Hello, nice, welcome. Please feel free to ask questions, comments. Talking Austrian economics. We're into gold because this is a piece of shit. It's worth 0. It's worth 1 cent now. So the theory or the thesis today is, why do people want to hold dollars that are worthless? and we talk about Luke's friend who's got $4 million, and I tell him to get rid of that they're all worthless. They're all monopoly money, because if you keep printing, there is no value to it. That's the inflation. You're inflating the money supply. So if you overprint it, it's worthless. And they're trying to tell us it's fucking prices. And I'm saying it ain't fucking prices. It's the printing. It's the inflating. That's why it's called inflation. You've inflated the supply, you're not inflating the prices. So if you hold on to the price, if you base money on prices, you're fooling yourself. That's not anything to do with it. From Ohio, maybe it's Scotty from European vacation, Euro trip. I don't know how to pronounce your name. It looks like a bunch of computer chips. Does U.S. printing dollars create inflation to other countries? No, only to the U.S. It makes the U.S. dollar worthless. And so what happens, and this is why the stock market and the banks are going to crash. So you're some billionaire in China because you work for the Chinese mafia and you've stole all this money, or Russian, and you've buried, a lot of money in the stock market and the house and the banking in the U.S. So you're money laundering it into U.S. dollars. As the money's worthless, you realize, oh, I'm fucked. I got to get my money out of, let's say, the stock market. I got a $1 billion, like Warren Buffett. I got $1 billion in stock. I'm going to sell my Apple stock or my Bank of America stock. So he must be tipped off the market's about to crash because he's selling a shitload of, but he's not buying gold with it. So as it becomes worthless, only in the US dollar. So the guy from China, the billionaire mafia guy, sells all his stocks, gets the US money, turns it into yuan, turns it into gold. So that's what's starting to happen now. People are realizing they're about to get fucked, and these are billionaires. They're saying, I don't want to be in the US stock market anymore because the dollar is worthless. But in sense, is the yuan worthless because the dollar is worthless? No. The yuan's worthless because they're printing it to death also. All these countries with all this are printing them to death. There's inflation all over the world because all these idiots are printing their money to death thanks to George Soros, the puppeteer. And therefore, you don't want to own euros, British pounds, Swiss francs, yuan, yen, ruble, anything at all. You want to own these new BRICS gold-backed currency. You've got to own something with gold because you can't print the gold. It can never lose its value. You can see it's almost at 2,700 now, and nobody except for us thought it would be over 2,000. Oh, at 2,000, 2,100. No, it's never going to 22. It's going to come down. And I remember Yankee Doodle Dandy, that silver show, and I'm telling, he's saying, well, the most it'll go is 2,500. And I think I left a comment in there going, you're fucking clueless. I think I said exactly that. Now, what's he going to say now that it's 2,700? Oh, yeah, you fucked up because you don't know, you don't understand BRICS, and you don't understand the derivatives are almost gone in gold. They're still being fought in silver because comex is price fixing it. It's not free market. It's not everybody in the class bought 10,000 ounces of gold would not move the gold price or the silver price. It's moved by comex, derivatives, Eddie Murphy, trading places. That's how it's moved. That's why it's all bullshit. That's why it's all undervalued. My advice is to buy as much as you can because the price will go to the moon. It has to, because comex will blow up because Russia and China don't want a low gold and silver price. Lucas, Jim Willie says, is he related to Willie Mays? Jim Willie says the clock is ticking. The next big move in gold won't be a gradual rise. It will be a quantum leap triggered by financial system reset. Well, it seems to be a consistent rise now. The reset, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about except for BRICS, October 22nd. And you've asked me, what do I think that's going to be at? And that's where I'm saying, well, right now, Mark McGuire said 3,500. So I would say it'll jump to 3,500. But I'm still looking at $10,000 gold minimum, probably 20 once it resets. The real question is when does this go to zero? This is hanging on at 1 cent. This is worth 1 cent. Your $100 bill is worth $1. At what point then does it become worthless? At what point do they roll out USD2 or this Trump gold-backed currency? That's the only thing that saves it. But if Trump has gold-backed currency and the BRICS have gold-backed currency, you're looking at $20,000 an ounce gold, because they're not wheeling it out at 3 or 4,000 or 5,000. It's got to be enough to back the dollar, and that's it. People, it's amazing how stupid people are. Well, we won't go on the gold because we have 355 million people, and there's not enough gold for it. And I'm like, you're an idiot. It's not everybody owns a coin. It's not like, oh, we got 350 million people owning silver. You print the dollars, and that's what people carry, but they're backed by gold, and you divide it up. So if it's 10,000 an ounce, how much do you need for 350 million people? Seems we didn't have a problem with, what did we have, 300 million people from World War II to 71. We had a lot of people here. Gold was 20 some dollars an ounce. Why Nixon didn't raise gold to $500 an ounce or $1,000 an ounce? He's an idiot. That's what he should have done. That's what would have saved everything. He shouldn't have printed, but he had Vietnam, and then he wanted Social Security and all this other bullshit. This is why socialism doesn't work, because you don't have the money for it. You want to give people, Kamala Harris is a fucking communist. Well, I want to help the middle class, and we're going to lower costs. You fucking can't lower costs. Only the market can lower costs. You can't do anything. All you can do is fix the money by backing it by gold, but you're too stupid to do that. That's the problem. All we need to do to survive here is gold-backed currency. We can market at 20,000 an ounce and pay off our debt. Otherwise, there is no other way to pay off the debt. You can't do it. You can't print $37 trillion to pay off the debt, because that money won't be worth any. It won't be worth 37 trillion. It'll be worth like 37 million. If you can't print that much money, you got 150 trillion out there coming back home, or 130 trillion of it. China, Japan, Germany, the UK, all with our treasury bills going, I don't want them. China's dumping, Japan's dumping, because they all need money. So what's going to happen is, since all these countries need money, they're going to sell their assets. So I'm out of the T-bills. I'm out of the stocks. I want to sell my Microsoft, my Amazon. I'm going to sell it because I need money. That's my point with you on the gold stocks, Luke. Jesus, is they can't. These guys need money. They're going to sell. They need money. They're going to sell all their stocks. They're not going to say, wait a minute, Luke's right. We need to keep our silver stock and our Newmont mining, but everything else, Apple and Amazon, no, because it's still in US dollars, and that market is this close from collapsing, even though we still keep printing the bullshit money to keep the stock market. Eventually you can't print anymore. Eventually the dollar, you're just printing paper. Forget the tens and 20s and 50s on the paper. You're printing paper. It's worthless. If it isn't backed by gold, it's all toilet paper. And every country is about to get George Soros and Madoff, where it's not going to be worth anything. This is the point I was trying to make to Jenna for her friend's boyfriend. He's got a lot of money. He doesn't need your help. And I'm saying, if he's got it, if he doesn't have it in gold, he's going to need our help. That's the point. His money's worthless, but he doesn't understand. And Jenna gets a little frustrated because she doesn't have money. And I keep saying, but we have gold. Stop fucking worrying. He's an Austrian econ guy, studies at Carnegie Mellon, one of the favorite talking heads. I never heard of him. I saw him once and I turned it off. I couldn't listen to the guy. It does bother me. He studies. Okay. I thought if he taught, I was going to be in trouble. Luke, he goes on to say, and when that happens, only those holding physical gold will weather the storm. Well, yeah, We all know that already. See, that's the problem. I don't need this guy to tell me that. This is what I've been telling for 3 years. Well, more than that. Hold gold, hold real money, and be ready for the monetary reset as just around the corner. You hold real assets, the Rolex, the Mantle cards, the Brady cards, the gold, the silver, the I'm over here, the Van Gogh paintings, the Picasso paintings. You hold real assets, right? Sports cards, Rolexes, anything that's real asset you hold, and uh, you will be able to turn it into gold. Eventually, it goes into gold or it gets valued in gold. So $100,000 Rolex watch will not lose its value. It will change. Its value in this goes to zero, as does every asset on the planet in this goes to zero, except gold and silver, because they don't need the dollar to have a value. So gold goes to whatever value gold goes to, which is basically whatever it will purchase. It'll purchase a nice house, a nice Mercedes, a nice Ferrari. You might need 2 or 3 ounces of it. That's what it'll lose. Because if you have a Ferrari and now you need money, and Luke comes and approaches you, hey buddy, I got 3 ounces of gold for the car, and he goes, yeah, I'll take it. Because by then the gold ounces, we don't even know what the price will be because the dollar goes out. So how do you? Yeah, it might be worth $50,000, but since the dollar doesn't have a value, what's gold worth? Well, it'll buy a house with 2 ounces of it. That's the point of telling you 2 ounces will buy your house, because the house itself won't be worth anything. Everything priced in dollars goes to zero, but gets repriced in a gold-backed currency. That's what'll happen. So it's a change, right? It happened in Rome. It happened remember in Amsterdam, they used to have tulips for money until there was a drought in tulips, and then they had to change to something else. So things got repriced, which is what I'm trying to understand with brics. They want to value their brics currency at 3,500 an ounce gold. That's in dollars. When the dollar collapses, what's the brics currency going to be? Because $3,500 for gold is in dollars. So they're going to be in for how are they going to transform it into so much gold? An ounce of gold, and what this is what the confusing part's going to be. Everything goes to zero because it's reset to dollars. All the FX, a dollar's worth 95 euro. What is it now? And they all need to come out with gold-backed currency, or everybody's gonna laugh. Your dollar's backed by nothing. It's toilet paper again. And the BRICS 159 countries all have gold-backed currency. And Howard and Luke and the guys have gold and silver, so they're fine. That's why I tell you, you've got to buy physical. You cannot buy ETFs or stocks. You have to own it. Look, so case in point with you, Luke, you own your gold stocks, your silver stocks, or you want to, but you own your gold. Gold's now almost 2,700. So you see it just went up 100. It was just 25. It just went to 26. It just went up $200 an ounce. Did your gold stocks go up $200 a share? Is it correlated? So as gold went up, they went up? Probably not, because nobody's buying gold stocks, but everybody buying gold, which includes all the central banks, Russia and China, pushing it up, up, up. Yeah, but you're not telling us. We already know that, Luke. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. So I'm glad at least he understands it. We'll call you R2D2. Tech companies are insanely laying off people. What do you think will happen to tech companies after the financial reset? They're going to be in big trouble. Who are they going to sell to? See, I guess like the Zuckerbergs are selling worldwide, so they're not worried about what happens in the US, although they should be. They're laying off people. How are you going to run your company? Because I assume you needed the people, a bunch of programmers, right? So how are you going to program without the programmers. That means you're losing money because you had to lay off people. So yes, I saw that. I also saw Bank of America laying off and IBM laying off, and I thought it was FedEx laying off. A lot of people are laying off because we're in a fucking depression. Only, we got an election. We can't tell the public that. They might panic. So all I can say is just hold your gold and put it this way. If you have 50 ounces, and I love this example, if you have 50 ounces of gold and it just went up $100, you just made $5,000. Now it went up another 100, you just made 10 grand. Just holding 50 ounces, just holding it, right? Tell me a job you can do that in nowadays. So that's kind of where it's at. I think the tech industry, what's going to happen is you're not going to have a lot of customers, because if you lay off everybody, this is 1930 depression. The reason the depression happened is everybody got laid off. There was nobody to come into the store and buy. It's a domino effect. If we're all not working, we're not going to Lowe's and Home Depot to buy stuff. We don't have any money, especially when the stock market collapses. Then all these guys with the $1 million 401ks are going to wake up and the shit's going to hit them, because they're going to think, well, I got all this money, I'm okay. And then they're going to realize they don't have anything. This is what I'm trying to warn people of. You got to get off the Titanic and into gold, which is the lifeboat. That's why I use that example, because everybody can understand it. And that's exactly what's happening. So you think you're all set and you're on the third floor of the Titanic and you go, well, I got my stock money. But the ship's sinking. It doesn't matter. And then, yeah, but I got my stock money. Get into the lifeboat. That's the point. But by the time the time people realize that there was no lifeboats left, by the time people realize that they're all fucked if they don't have gold, then they're going to try to buy gold. They're not going to take dollars for gold. At that point, why would I sell you my gold for $1? I'm telling you not to do it now. You want to go sell an ounce of gold? You don't want dollars. You want the brick gold back currency, or you want something else, or it's a quick, I want to go on a vacation, so I'm going to take it and spend it. You don't want to own it. I have nothing in my bank, a couple $1,000s for rent and food and stuff. That's it. I don't keep money in the bank. I have not been in the stock market in a couple of years. I am strictly in gold and silver, and I got my Mano card. So that's it. There's no reason to hold dollars. It's worthless. It's like it's like a Mercedes you paid $100,000 for 10 years ago. Now you put 500,000 miles on it. What do you think it's worth? Oh yeah, a couple thousand. That's it. It's not going to go up in value. That's what you got. You got a real old Mercedes. The money's worthless. Let's see. If the dollar collapses, it's not if, it's when, then what will happen to reserve dollars of other countries' central banks? Again, nothing. That's why they're getting their reserve out of dollars into gold. That's why every central bank in the world, except for the U.S., is getting out of dollars and into gold. If they stayed in dollars, they'd get hurt. Well, their U.S. dollars would be worthless. But they're all selling the dollars for gold, so nobody will get hurt. Yes, if you do own dollars, so the rich German or the rich, British guy, if he still owns dollars, they become worthless. Just like the tulips in Amsterdam, they became worthless. So that's why you don't want to own dollars. You get out of the dollars, you go buy gold and silver. You can't fuck with gold and silver because you can't print it. This is the point. You can't print this. It comes out of the ground. You make these bullions. It says 1 ounce. Where is it? 1 troy ounce. There you go. This is 1 troy ounce of silver. And that's what it is. It's a 999, I'm sure. From Delaware. 1 troy ounce, 49 fine silver. So therefore, you can't print it, because if you try to counterfeit and put half an ounce of silver with half an ounce of something else, it won't pass the meter test. And the best way to do it is you bring a magnet. And if the magnet connects, it's counterfeit. You don't buy it. it should go up against the magnet and nothing happen. And then it's silver, at least pretty good chance it's silver. And that's the point. So you get out of dollars that are worthless. So anybody holding dollars in the world gets fucked by holding dollars. And that's why you need to be in gold and silver. It's the only out. It's the only lifeboat, which is perfect Titanic analogy. Luke, do you think we will be transacting again in coins? No, I mean they can print dollars with it, or unless you mean quarters, dimes, nickels. Yeah, I think that will happen. So you go to Kroger's, eggs will be a quarter. Eggs will be a quarter ounces, a quarter silver. So everything goes back to a silver nickel, a silver dime, a silver quarter, and the silver dollar. And eggs will be maybe a silver dime, because at that point, I just paid $3.99 for a dozen eggs, but at that point, that's in paper monopoly money, $3.99. You reset it to silver, it's a dime, and probably not even that. So most of the items in the grocery store are going to be dimes and quarters. You'll take out $1 and that'll cover a big basket full of groceries, and they'll have nickel, dime, quarter in the maybe halves in the cashier, and that's what she'll give you. Now you can still probably plug it into your bank and use it on your debit card. Okay, I got $2,000 worth of gold, silver on my debit card or credit card. So your credit card balance goes from $10,000 to like 150 gold or silver, and then your max limit is now $1,000 of gold or something, right? Which you'll never use. The gold stacks go up higher percent than gold spot as it goes higher, or the gold stocks higher percent than the gold. Yeah, but again, you're trying to nitpick me with the percentage. I'm not arguing that, but they're only $20-$30 a stock versus $2,700 gold. So I go up $100. So if this goes up $100, I just made $100 on this. And as I was saying before, I think you got here, we want silver to start going up $100, not $1. So every $100, I know how much you're going to make, and I got about 700 ounces of silver. So I make $7,000 every $100 it goes up. You make a lot more than that, because right now we're making, oh, good, silver went up $1. Oh yeah, I made $60. But when gold goes up 100, I make 5,000. That's the beauty of it, and that's why it is very much an investment. I love having mining stocks, especially the smaller cap ones. They can go 10-1. They could go 10-1. Yes. Will they go 10-1? Not in this environment, Luke. That's what I'm trying to warn you. The market's going to crash and nobody's going to keep stocks. So that's where the coins are going to come in right now. But, I hope they do. But I wouldn't want to. Why risk that? Just buy the coins. Nice coin. Thank you, Fit Doggy. I'll call you Doggy. Fitbit Doggy. We'll think of a name for you. I'll give you your bowl game name, like Cool Hand Luke. Yeah, that's just one of my silvers. I got different silvers and different golds. I diversify with Cougarans, Maple Leafs, Philharmonics, and U.S. dollar. That's my portfolio diversification. Luke, I was all in mining stocks a few years ago before I started selling them and diversifying into physical on 30-30-30. You're probably still too high in the stocks, maybe 40-40-20. If it was me, I'd be 90-10, but that is me. But yeah, we'll throw in a Mantle card or one of your Roberto Clemente cards. Maybe I'll bring a Roberto Clemente card for you when we meet. I got some nice old ones. I got a 61, a 65, 68, 71, 72. It was weird. I'd go to the card shows, and there was always an old K-line and an old Clemente I could get really cheap. And I'm like, I didn't see the Mays really cheap or the Mano real cheap, but I was able to get Mays and Pete Rose. But I could always I got like 10 Clemente cards, not, different years, but he was always available. Luke, much of the stock market will start to shift into gold mining stocks like Barrick and Newmont when the change begins. Portfolio managers will have to have some allocation to them. I'm not sure. Are you really going to want to own stock when the stock market goes from 41,000 to 20,000? Are you really going to want to be in stocks? And most of it's foreign. I'd say 80% of the stock market is China, Japan, Russia, UK. Are they really going to want to stay in the mining stocks? Now, I agree with you. The portfolio manager, will they ask for that, or will they just get the hell out? I don't know. It's a good point. I see. Hello, how much is it for your picks? Well, you have a couple options. If you want weekly, if you want all of them, college, pro, and locks, it's $100 for the week, or $300 for 4 weeks. If you want just locks, 77, just pro or college, 75. It's your option. Let me show you the site. So here's me, the Teaserking, and I'm on the purchase pick tab, and then you can just take your pick. So you can buy the pros, the college, that you just click on the PayPal and then just pay for it. And then you get a password back. Then you go into this week's football picks and you type the password and up pops the picks. So yeah, it's for the quality you're getting is very reasonable. So that's what you could do. But if you just want the locks, for example, you can buy the locks for the week, 75. I was 4-1 in my locks last week. Cincinnati let us down, but I did have the Baylor over Colorado and Kansas State under, and then I had the Pittsburgh under with Arizona 9. So 4 for 4 until Cincinnati decided not to play again. So we will see. But that's where you just go to, and then just any type of credit card and PayPal and pay that way. And you get my email. Just email me with questions or comments. You want to play a 5-team teaser? I can suggest my top 5 picks. This week should be a very strong week. I got about 4 good locks. I just need to post them. I'll probably post them after this. But that's all you got to do. So I've been doing this for a long time. I got a lot of guys who buy every year, just like clockwork. So I'm sure I'm doing something right. And I got it pretty figured out now. See, my theory works with the variables, and then it just teams change. So, 1 year you're on Chicago, the next year you're on Green Bay. This year we're on Minnesota because all of a sudden Sam Darnold actually looks like a pro quarterback. So we quickly adjust to it and go, that's my bitch this year. R2D2, does semiconductor stocks good asset or a bubble? Oh, there got to be a bubble because the economy is going down. Now it's a different economy because it is global. So like, Apple, I don't know how many people are buying a $1,500 phone, to tell you the truth. But that's what's happening with them. So if they're global, but the whole global economy is blowing up, but the BRICS economy will be strong because of being gold-backed currency. And then somehow all the prices have to switch to gold. So it depends who's buying and the demand. The bubbles are caused by the U.S., like JP Morgan throwing all this money into the stock market. So I would say Microsoft's probably in a bubble, and Apple and Tesla, all those stocks that are way overvalued. I guess the best way I look at it is the PE ratio should be about 25 if you want to buy something. Um, and make sure the cash flow from operations is fine. The cash flow from operations should be positive. That's the most important thing to look at on their financials. It's in the cash flow statement, and you're looking for like each year, and then you'll see how much. If they don't have positive cash flow, get the fuck out. A lot of the valuations are false because it's stock. So Zuckerberg's really not a billionaire. The price of his company is so high, but in reality, it's not. It's what the PE ratio is. So it's what's his earnings. And there's a lot of companies with no earnings. So I guess I would check, do they have earnings? What's their cash flow from operations? If they have earnings and good cash flow and a PE ratio of about 25 to 35, it's not a bubble. If you see PEs, like half of these are 75 or 100, they're in a bubble. You don't want to pay, you're way overpaying a 75 PO. Those are all in IFCOM. Well, Zuckerberg will start making money. Well, no, he doesn't make money. He doesn't charge. He sells our information to the Russians and makes money that way. What a fucking scumbag that guy is. Oh, it makes me sick. So I would say if you get a low PE and it has earnings, it's a good buy. If it's not earnings, no cash flow from operations, and the PE 75, you don't want to touch it. After financial reset, what will happen to companies like BlackRock? BlackRock will get killed. They'll go out of business because they don't really own anything, right? They own. So if you give BlackRock $100,000 and they buy stock with it, you own the stock. They don't own it. So when the stock market crashes, BlackRock's value goes to zero because their portfolio is nothing. So Larry Fink's an idiot. He's a salesman. He sold houses. He's a house salesman. Another one of these idiots that he just buys a lot. He just like wants the money to invest in the stock, but he doesn't own the stocks. You give him money, he gets percentage out of it. So you give him 500,000 and he buys stocks with it. He gets commission on it. That's how he makes his money. He doesn't. And what does he pick? Oh, we'll put you in Amazon and Apple and Microsoft and Tesla. Oh, he's got everybody in the same portfolio. And when they all crash, so will he. But he doesn't own anything. He doesn't own all the stocks. Warren Buffett, he would buy the whole fucking Coca-Cola or Disney. He'd buy like 5 million shares of it. He did nothing. He's not a good investor. He just, oh, that's a good company. I'll put 1 million shares into it. Well, that's not stock, and that's not investing. It's kind of investing in a warped way where he's just buying the company. Oh, okay, Coca-Cola is a good company. I'll buy it. Basically, oh, Disney, I'll buy it. And Bank of America, apparently, JP Morgan. So he buys the banks, but then he realizes they're all getting fucked. So what'll happen to the banks is, as I've explained, Luke gives me 10 grand. I'm going to give him back 3% interest. I'm a bank. What do I do with Luke's 10 grand? I got to have revenue to pay off Luke. So I loan my money out to R2D2 here, and he wants to buy a house. So I loan him Luke's 10 grand, and he's going to pay me back 6%. So he pays me 6% a month, and I take it, and I give Luke his 2% a month, and I keep 4%. And that's how I make money. But when R2D2 can't pay me anymore, he says, I can't afford it. I bit off more than I can chew. I don't get the money in. I can't give Luke his 2%. And I don't make the 4% I was counting on. And that's where the banks are at, with the commercial real estate blowing up because nobody's loaning out their, able to fill their occupancy. And therefore they can't pay back the banks. The banks are fucked. That's what basically the Great Depression was. All these farmers, when they did the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, they fucked all the farmers because they made the food so expensive overseas, nobody could buy it. So the farmers making all this corn and wheat to sell over in Europe, but it got too expensive because the government didn't do laissez-faire economics and leave it alone. They got involved and it fucked up all the farmers, so they couldn't sell, and then they couldn't pay the banks back, and all the banks went out because they had loaned the money to the farmers and the farmers couldn't pay them back, and they were fucked. That's the government doing what the government does so well, fucking up everything. The problem with the government is they have no idea. They don't know economics. They don't understand inflation now. They think it's prices. Like they're worried, oh, if there's a supply chain problem, oh, that's inflation. No, the only inflation is printing the money. There is no supply. Prices going up are the free market. If it's free market, our prices going up. It is not inflation, and that happens when there's fires and there you can't get wood. You can't build a house. It goes up in price. It's not inflation. You burned all the wood. You burned all the trees. So there is no wood. So there's a shortage of wood. So the price goes up. That's just free market. R2D2. What do you think of defense stocks? Well, right now it's a joke because it's, I don't like them because I don't like the premise, but like they keep getting all this money. So when we give $600 billion to the Ukraine, and they turn around, Zelensky takes his 10%, and everything comes back to the defense contractors. So they make all this money for basically building rockets and tanks and stuff. I don't like it. I don't think it's necessary. I don't believe in wars because I don't believe you need to kill people. I don't understand what a war is. I mean, if Putin and Zelensky have a problem, they should go fight it out. Why are you? Well, we'll get an army and you'll get an army, and we'll let the army fight it out. No. You fight it out. You go into a boxing ring, Zelensky and Putin, and then Putin would kick his ass because he knows jujitsu or and anything. I mean, look at the war we're in. We're fighting Russia with the Ukrainian soldiers, and they don't have any left. They've lost 600,000 men. I'm hoping poor Jenna doesn't get caught in, or her kids. And so you have you have that, and that's the point of it. It's terrible things, war, people getting killed so defense contractors can make money by selling weapons and missiles and tanks and planes, because otherwise there's no demand for them because there's no need for them. There is demand. There is need for an army, but it should be a protectionist army. But otherwise, really, I don't like that product. Like I don't like Zuckerberg selling all our information and making money off of selling our information. I don't like that. I think he's like I said, a scumbag, and he should go to jail for that. I think it's totally illegal. We don't know you're selling information, and you can say it's on the agreement when you sign up for a Facebook, but fuck you. That tell us right out, we're going to sell your information. We tell you to fuck off because that's bullshit. Why are you selling our information at all? You want to have a little people dating each other or showing pictures of grandma at lunch? Who gives a fuck? But you should. I'm more bothered by that. But yeah, the defense contractors, that's just bullshit. They should prohibit that, but we do need an army. So how do you arm your army in a way that all that defense contractors should come from where? Not from my taxes. That's the hard part. So it's funny, somebody thinks we're making money in this war. We're not making any money in the war. How are we making money? Who's giving us money? Ukraine? NATO? You think they're giving us money? No, we're printing the money, sending it over and getting it back, paying the defense contractors. So again, it's like our T-bills. Nobody wants them, so we buy our own T-bills. What the fuck? So this is what I don't understand. So how do people think we're fine here, where our money's good, when we can't sell our T-bills? We have to buy our own T-bills because nobody wants it. As I say a million times, this only has a value if somebody will buy it from me. If nobody will buy this bottle, it is valueless. It has a value to me because I work there, but it is valueless there. I don't, unless somebody wants to pay it. Just like my Mahomes card. Somebody will pay me $1,000. That's the value. If nobody will buy it from me, it's worthless. But the fact it's Mahomes and 50, I should get some. I should get some buyers from it, right? That's where the demand is. But nobody wants this. You can't sell a T-bill auction. Nobody wants it. I'm going to Italy in a couple of weeks. I don't know if I can. I can probably use it in my credit cards. I've already paid the hotel and the planes, but I'm curious if we go eat, I'll use my credit card, and they'll probably, oh, we don't take US. So I got to make sure I bring a little bit of gold just in case I can't do it. I'll look for gold stores for us in Italy. That'll be interesting. I don't normally look, like in Barcelona. I didn't look for gold shops because I got my own here where I go to. He's always got a good supply and he's fairly priced, and I know it's real gold and silver I'm getting, so I don't worry about it. But that's my value on it. Defense stocks, so I kind of gave you an answer for defense contractor or companies. Defense stocks, I don't know. They've gone up pretty high. I think if Trump gets in, he's going to end the war. So I think they're probably maxed out now. If you're in it, I would then, if you've made a lot of money, I would get out of it and buy gold with it. All the stocks are they're gonna get crushed. So get your profits and get the fuck out and buy gold because you don't want to be in dollars. The problem is I don't want to get out of stocks and be in this. I don't want to be in this. This is worthless toilet paper. So the quicker you understand that, so then now this is a real asset, so I'm not worried. Let's say this is $2,000 in dollars. Well, okay, it goes to zero in dollars, but there will be people buying it with gold. So I'm not really worried about losing the Mahomes card. It'll go to zero in dollars. Yeah, I know that, but it gets priced in gold because it's Mahomes and it's 50 count. Now I would gladly take a half ounce of gold for it right now. Absolutely. So that's the thing. So defense stocks, I haven't watched the market in a couple of years. I have no interest in it. I know it's going to crash. And I've been focusing on putting all my money in gold and silver and really getting out of dollars, which means getting out of stocks, getting out of the bank. Nothing good is going to happen in stocks or the banks that you're going to want to have. So that's really where we're at. I'm surprised silver hasn't. We watched Mark McGuire. I'll have to watch it later. I thought there was a point of 30, maybe it's 33 where it goes to 50, but we're really close to it now at 32. I think it's about to get out. Maybe go buy another 20 ounces of silver because you're going to buy it at 30 and it's going to be worth 100 soon. So you might want to do that if you have spare. Plus, gold's getting expensive. So what's going to happen is gold's getting so expensive that the idiots are still selling it. I mean, it's amazing. The owner of the store looks at me and we both roll our eyes. Why are they selling it? I said, because they are just clueless. They're not stupid. They just don't know. They're clueless. They don't know gold is not anywhere close to its high. You put a 10 in front of it. You put a 0 after it. That's where it's at. 2,700 now. You know, you're looking at a $10,000 ounce of gold. You're selling it for 2,700. All I can say is thank you. Now I can buy it 100 over spot. That's where it's at, but the people don't know it. They'll go, oh, it's all-time high. I'm going to sell it. Well, that was at 23.50, and then it was at 24, then it was at 25, and then it was at 26, and now we're near 27, and people are still not getting it. Like, no, this is not anywhere near where the all-time high is going because it's been price fixed, and that's it. But what's going to happen is the average guy who's got his 100 grand, who's been buying some gold or maybe just getting into it, is going to see gold at, you know, you buy an ounce of gold now with the premium is going to be 2,800. And they're going to say, well, that's a lot. I got 20 grand to buy. Oh, silver's at 32. So they're going to start buying shitloads of silver if they're just getting into it, because they'll realize, oh, this is $30. I can handle that. I can't handle 2,800 for an ounce of gold. and that's why silver is going to just explode. Besides killing comex, which we need to do, and the silver demand for China, India, and Saudi Arabia, because they need solar panels. You need, I don't know how many ounces of silver for the solar panel, but they all need big solar panels. What are they thinking? They're going to have the electricity with solar panels because the oil is going to run out? What the fuck? Or wait, the culture, the planet's going to die from pollution. Yeah. Oh, okay, sure. You guys will say anything for a laugh, right? I mean, that's bullshit. So you've got so they're all going to the solar panels, and you need silver for it. And you can't replace silver. There's no substitute. You can't go to copper and have solar panels. So you need silver, which will make, so just the demand, but there's no supply of silver. Right now, there's no supply. The demand's huge. There's no supply. That's why you see it running up. And then as people realize it's money also, and gold is going to hit 3,000 an ounce, and you're going to go, well, fuck, that with premiums 3,100, that's getting a lot. Yeah, I should probably buy silver at $35, $40 an ounce. And everybody's got it in their head that $50 an ounce is as high as it's going to go. No, you're fucked. That's derivative paper fixed silver. That's not a real price. And again, between Tomahawk missiles and solar panels, the demand's huge. The price has to go up when the demand's high, right? It's limited, high demand, high price. It has to happen. The market will eventually win, even though these COMEX guys try price fixing it. So $50 silver is a joke. It'll be at least 500. My guess is about 2,000 when brics announces. So October 22nd, brics is going to say, okay, we're doing gold-backed currency. And our price of gold sounds like 3,500, maybe 5,000. I don't know. China's bankrupt. Japan's bankrupt. Russia's in big trouble. But they got a shitload of gold, so it's just change it up. Okay, now we're going to use this gold-backed currency. That's how we get out of using the yuan. The yuan is bankrupt. It's like us, the British pound, the euro. It's all bankrupt. Don't get fooled. None of it's worth anything. You don't want to sell an ounce of gold for a euro, a British pound, a yuan, for anything. Only for an asset, a Rolex, a Mantle card. That's it. You do not want to sell it unless it's an emergency. It's some expense, a vacation, something happened where you need bullshit money. But it's amazing how stupid we're still sitting there and they're still taking it. You go to a restaurant, you go to the grocery store, they still take your credit cards. You just sit there and go, what the fuck? How stupid are these guys? R2, what do you think of Indian economy growing at 7-8% GDP? Well, India has taken over a lot of what China did with the manufacturing because their labor is cheaper than China's now. But their dollar's worthless. They have massive inflation in India, as every other country. I think when they go back on the BRICS gold-backed currency and they bring gold-backed currency into India, so if the rupee goes to a gold-backed currency, then their economy will grow. If they stay on this rupee that's heavily inflated, they're fucked. Just like all these other countries, China is printing money hand over fist. All these countries printing, it's all worthless. They're all getting fucked by George Soros, who's got everybody on fiat paper money and print it. You can't print it to pay your debt. You can't print it to pay your bills. You can't print it for your military because it's worthless. You keep printing it, it's worth less and less until it finally isn't worth anything. Welcome to Rome, boys. You can't do it. And so, if they all go to a gold-backed currency, all the BRICS countries, they'll be fine. They will rule. And I know Russia wants a gold-backed ruble, and China better do something quick. And Japan's fucked. I don't know what they're doing. So until that's it, then, and the U.S. is the leader in the clubhouse with massive inflation, especially when all the money starts coming back home. All these rich people start selling it. China's selling their T-bills. Japan's selling their T-bills. That's all money coming into the U.S. That is massive inflation because the more money, the less it's worth. Now you're bringing back 30, 40, 50 more trillion dollars that China and Japan had, which more money in, so it's even a heavier debt burden, a heavier inflation. So to think it's 2% because of this election, don't even fuck around with that. That's bullshit. We are not at 2%. You cannot quantitate what the percentages of inflation is. You can't because there's so many different prices. They're just taking a stab at 10 prices saying, yeah, it's 2%. But we won't count, food and energy. How the fuck? What do you mean you're not counting it? You want us to believe it's 2%? Just assume it's 25 to 50%. Just be glad you can still go to the grocery store and shop. I don't believe this. There won't be food available. What are they going to murder us all? I mean, that's ridiculous. Be prepared to move. Be prepared to fly the fuck out of the country if you can. And if you got family outside, go to the family or friends. I don't know what's going to happen here, but when you make 350 trillion people hungry and penniless, you've got problems, right? One thing I did was put a lot of my gold. They're all in these plastics and they're in those white containers, the silver so when you get 20 silvers in a white container, most of my gold's in those white containers. They can easily go into my pockets and I can walk down the street and nobody has a clue. I do have some that that won't fit. So I have a bag that I keep a lot of ounces in, but I was able to get some ounces in the white ones. But just be very cautious, be very careful. Don't tell anybody you're going on vacation. Don't tell anybody you have gold in the house, or maybe you put it in the U-Haul lockers, or I see these storage bins. How safe are they? Hopefully you have the only key to it, and you like Storage Wars where they got to break the key because you have the only key. So if I have the only key to it, and it's not a government thing, do not keep any gold at a safety deposit box at a bank. You'll never get it out. You're totally fucked. So don't leave it there. Put it in a U-Haul locker or some of these storage lockers in a safe, covered in, blankets. Make it look like it's just, child's toys. And you should be the only one with access. Then I think you'll be safe. I don't think people are going to start breaking into these storage lockers to, see what are they going to get, chairs and toys. They're not expecting gold in them. So be careful, be smart where you do put it. I think we can still travel with it. So just be careful with it. Anyway, that's what's going on. Well, I welcome the new folks, Fitbit Doggy, welcome, and R2D2. Who you support, Trump or Camilla? Neither. It's a broken system. I support whoever will blow it up and come out with a Adam Smith Austrian economic system is who I would support. So just because there are people running, I don't support either of them because they're not for Austrian economics. The whole government needs to be blown up. It's not what was done in the Constitution. There should not be a central bank. This whole thing is just bullshit, and I can't support any of them. And I don't vote to vote. I vote because I believe in something. I'm this close to calling up this Kennedy senator who's in charge, or one of the people in charge of the banking system, or the whatever Congress runs financial stuff, and have a little talk with him. Say, you guys are fucking up the country. You don't even understand what inflation is. You better, I can't believe you're letting this shit go on. Like, you have these meetings and then you don't do shit. What's the point of the meeting? So I'm this close to trying to save the country by doing that, because it is not prices. It is, you're fucking up. You're printing the dollar to nothing. And then what do? Are you prepared with gold-backed currency, but you don't have any money in your Fort Knox? How the fuck are you going to come out with gold-backed currency? Why aren't you buying gold at these ridiculously low prices? So this is a big problem. So I really don't support either. Kamala is basically a communist. I will not ever support a communist. I know how bad that is. Price controls never work. I don't really like concentration camps, so I don't think that's ever going to get my support. Trump, I don't know what he is. He's a protectionist. What are you doing, Trump? Protectionism doesn't work. Oh, we'll bring the jobs back to America. We don't want the jobs in America because as the consumer, we want to get good prices from China and India and Japan and whoever makes different items for us, we can get cheaper because they can make them better and get a better quality with a better price. We don't want protectionism because that just forces the price up and the quality down. Because if you put this tariff on, let's say, steel, the US steel then raises their price and there's no competition and they make it like shit. Sorry, don't want that. So till I get an Austrian in office, Austrian economist, Adam Smith type, I wouldn't vote for either of these idiots. Trump's really like getting weird, and Harris is just a moron. I mean, I'm going to lower prices. And how are you going to do that? You have no fucking way of doing that. The economy does it through competition, not the government doing it by forcing prices down, which forces vendors out because they can't make it at that price. That's why it's not priced. That's why Coke's not priced at $2. It takes them $3 to make profit on it. And if you force it to $2, Coke will go out of business, which causes more layoffs and a worse economy. And we're back in the 1930s, which is unbelievable because there's a bunch of idiots in charge, led by George Soros again. So George Soros wants to bankrupt the U.S. He's doing a good job of it. So just be careful. We're fucked anyway because when BRICS goes on gold, if we don't have gold-backed currency, we can't even do business with them. Not that we can anyway, because they're not interested in doing business with us. Maybe China will. I don't know. But what's the West going to? What's Germany and Italy and France and Spain and the UK going to do? They're all fucked because they can't compete with the gold. So just amazing. Do we really not have gold? How can we be this stupid? Did we not learn anything about the gold system? We had the gold standard for 1945 to 1971. Didn't we learn anything about gold back then? No, we had idiots running it going, let's give social benefits. Let's go to Vietnam. We don't have money for Vietnam. We'll just print more money. Who cares if it's backed by gold? Why don't we raise the gold price? Oh, no, we can't do that. So when you got morons in charge, this is the problem. You need financial people in charge of a financial part of the country, and you don't have it. So this is what you get. You get a mess, and we'll be joining Rome very soon. But I won't vote, and I won't support morons, communists. Why would I want a communist in charge? So anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's my bags are packed and ready to go. We'll have to see. Maybe it's Russia, which has a low tax base, and my girlfriend's there, so maybe I move there. I don't know. I'll be doing this from there. I'll have to find the right time. It's 2 a.m. It's 7 hours. It's noon. Yeah, it's 2 a.m. I'll be on it at midnight and from St. Petersburg. Hilarious. Anyway, that's about it. We got Mark McGuire tomorrow morning, but it's one with the guests, so it'll probably be a waste of time. I got to check for Egon doing some stuff, but we probably already know everything. We know BRICS, gold-backed currency, October 22nd. We know that. We see gold near 2,700 going to 3 to 5 to 10,000 an ounce. We see that. There's nothing the U.S. can do. The question is, will BRICS cap it at 3,500, or will the market still be able to raise the price? They're just putting their currency at 3,500. That doesn't mean the price can't go over 3,500. I don't believe. So we'll see. But just the fact they're going to have gold backing their money puts the demand huge and puts the price huge, and that's what we care about. So we'll have to see here. I don't even know what to buy for food. I got a bunch of frozen vegetables in the freezer, and I tried one, and it tasted like crap. But I think I need to defrost it for like a half hour, an hour, get it back to room temperature, and then maybe cook it in the frying pan or something. But or maybe boiling water. But it tasted like shit. I just poured it from the bag. It was still frozen into the frying pan. Well, it'll heat up there. Oh my God, I couldn't eat it. Very bad. So we'll see. But I prefer fresh vegetables. This is going to be my problem. Well, hopefully we'll still have fresh vegetables at the grocery store. Like I say, there's no way Costco and Target and Kroger's is just going to go out of business. I can't believe they're that stupid that they won't have ways of getting food. And then if it's just how do you pay for the food because the dollar is worthless, it'll be the new dollar or we'll use our silver there. But they'll have to change prices. So Kroger's cannot charge milk $3. They got to charge it as 10 cents in silver because the dollar's worthless, so they can't price it in dollars. But a lot of these people don't understand. They don't understand barter. If I have this, it's not barter. I'm paying with money. That's the point. So it's going to be a weird election, and I don't know. I think the loser is going to be us. The winner is going to be the winner, and the loser is going to be everybody, all the people in the U.S. I think we're just totally fucked by these idiots. This is what happens when you have idiots running it. And people don't want to see the U.S. succeed, so they won't succeed. Food inflation is going insanely high. There's no such thing as food inflation. Okay, there's one inflation. You're inflating the money supply. There is no other type. There is no wage inflation. There is no food inflation. There is no deflation. What inflation is inflating the money supply, making the dollar worth less. Making more, you need more dollars to buy the food. The food is not being inflated. The prices are in correspondence to the value of this. This is losing value. The prices aren't going up. So this is worthless. This is my point. This is worthless. However, if you went in with this, you would see no change at all in prices because silver should be going. So as gold goes from 2,600 to 2,700, it keeps in value with all the food and everything else, right? I have my ounce of gold. It's now worth 2,700. Food went up, but in the same, it's equal, right? So the gold's going up, the silver should be going up as because the dollar is being worthless, and that's where they're really holding it down. Silver should be at least 500 an ounce now, and that's where then you walk into the silver and you go, oh, the veggies are more. Well, yeah, but this is worth more, so it washes out, and that's what will happen as silver finally explodes. But there is no such thing as food inflation, wage inflation, any of that bullshit. People throw around inflation for expanding. There's no such thing. You're only inflating the money supply. You're only making it worthless. That's what you're doing with inflation. So there's no food inflation. It's just food's getting more expensive. It's the dollar that's where you really see the value of the dollar dropping. It takes more dollars to buy an apple than before. That's because the dollar's losing value. That's how you know the dollar's losing value. They're not raising the prices. What do you think of a oil-backed currency? I don't like it. It's got to be gold or silver. Oil back, I don't. What are you going to go? You're going to go buy a barrel of oil? You're gonna go to get Pennzoil and take. Hey, I got 3 cans of Pennzoil. I don't see how it equates. Here's the thing about money's got to be this. Maybe it's here. This is what money is. A medium of exchange is what everybody wants. Is everybody going to want oil? No. Is it portable? No. How is oil portable? You can pour some in your pocket in a little plastic bag. Oil is not portable. Is it scarce? No. Is it divisible for small exchanges? No. Is it fungible, the same, replaceable? I guess it is. Is it acceptance? I don't know. If you go to the restaurant, well, I'm going to pay you in what, a barrel of oil or an ounce of oil, or how would you do it? And it's durable. Well, it's liquid. Can it burn it? Can you freeze it? These are the properties for gold. All of these are for gold. It is, you can put it in your pocket. It's very scarce. You can make an ounce, a half ounce, quarter ounce, a tenth of an ounce. Fungible. Is it the same? Absolutely. Is it accepted? Everybody loves gold. Is it durable? It's unbreakable. You cannot hurt gold. There's no way. You can't burn it. You can't freeze it. I'm wearing Julius Caesar's necklace. So yeah, you can't, there's nothing with gold. So you must understand that. So basically, oil wouldn't work. How would you pay for things in oil? Like I said, bring in a Quaker State can, and maybe they start making smaller cans, and you go to the register to check out. Well, I've got it's four quarts of oil. Yeah, here you go. I got it. It doesn't work. It's like tulips. It didn't work because, well, tulips ran out. There was a freeze and they didn't have it, but you'd have to walk around with tulips to pay for things. The reason gold works, the reason money works is you can put it in your wallet. Then it became electric with credit cards and debit cards. And that's why gold works. You can have a gold backed out. This is the best thing. You're not supposed to print it to death. This is the problem. This is the best currency. This is the best medium of exchange is this. So they got it right. You're just not supposed to print it to death. You're not supposed to have a monopoly like JP Morgan at the helm of a printing press, giving them the monopoly of the whole fucking country. Who did that, and how do they not stop that from happening? It's not in the Constitution. Central banks are not in the Constitution. In fact, in the Constitution, it says nobody shall be able to have a monopoly printing money. So how this happens, and we ignore the Constitution, we have a great Constitution, but nobody follows it. It's like, well, the speed limit's 40, but if everybody does 70 and nobody does anything, then the 40-mile-an-hour speed limit is all bullshit. After BRICS currency, I think China will start its expansion in South China Sea. I don't think China wants to expand. China's got 1 billion people. They're not looking to expand. Russia's not looking to expand. Russia's defending their oil and mineral influences in the 4 cities in Ukraine. If you notice, they're not moving into Ukraine. They're not doing anything. It's strictly Kharkov, Crimea, Odessa, and Donetsk. And those are the cities rich in oil and coal and minerals. Okay, so they're only defending, therefore, to keep them out of the U.S. hands. They're not looking to expand. China's not looking to expand. We'll start. No, they got Taiwan. Taiwan is China. They're already in Hong Kong and Singapore. They don't want any more than they got. I don't know where people are coming up with that Russia wants Europe or China wants this. They don't. They just want to be left alone. They're not trying to take over the world. Russia's just really just keep NATO away from us. And by the way, we want all the minerals and oil in these 4 cities in the Ukraine. We don't want you to have it. So that's really what's happening. And that's what you have to realize is China and Russia do not want expansion. You got to be careful with North Korea. They're fucked up. Iran, they're fucked up. They're all joining BRICS. We got all all the bad guys are on one team now. This would be curious. Turkey wants to join BRICS, so that's a good sign. We need like Germany and Spain and Italy joining BRICS. We need some good countries we can move to. South China Sea has a lot of critical mineral resources. Well, I'm sure China already has it then. But China's got an awful lot of minerals. I don't really think they need more. but I would imagine every sea has. There was a big oil discovery found near Venezuela by this other little country. So there's oil in the seas all over and minerals. So, you know, it's about keeping your dollar strong by not printing it to death. Excuse me. That's really the key to it. Stop fucking around with your dollar and you just have gold and you don't need anything else. You'd be fine. Why no country has gold is beyond me. Though Zimbabwe was smart enough to go to a gold-backed currency. And now we'll see BRICS. And then Africa, the whole country wants to go to a gold-backed currency. And they're tired of the French and the U.S. stealing all their minerals and gold. So now all their military guys are in charge and they're throwing out the U.S. And guess who's behind them? Russia. So more gold and minerals from us. So, they'll probably make good deals with the Africans. Say, oh, yeah, we'll just take 50% and you can keep the other 50 and we can have a gold-backed currency. Putin understands gold. He's got a whole train load of it, and he's got what do you call vaults in his house. He's got like 10 houses. He's got vaults in them with gold, and yeah, he's fine. He's worth a few dollars. What you think of groups like Quad and AUKUS? I've never heard of. What are they? Are they terrorist groups or Quad and AUKUS? Don't know what they are. But that's the way the world's going. Why the U.S. is blowing itself up is a very good question. How Biden got elected was because of George Soros, who's a Nazi who wants to destroy the West. Why the West is just allowing this is beyond me. But you can see who got elected, the Macron and the Trudeau and Biden, all these, far left, socialist, communist people in charge because Soros got them elected in. So that's really the problem. Because everybody's just laying down, letting George Soros run bankrupt everybody. Germany's in trouble. Italy's in trouble. Spain's in trouble. The UK's broke. Germany's broke. Canada's broke. And the US is broke. So Soros is winning. Just freaking nuts. So that's what we have. What's today? Thursday. We do have football on. Army and Temple. I did play that game. And then Dallas and the Giants. I did not play that game. I do not trust Dak Prescott. And I certainly don't trust Daniel Jones. I'd rather see Danny DeVito out there. He's much better quarterback. And anybody's better than Prescott. He's good when they're down 30 points against Baltimore. He doesn't show up against New Orleans. He doesn't show up against Baltimore till the end. I don't know. They probably will beat the Giants, but I had no say in it. Anyway, so I got about 6 strong plays in the pros. I'm trying to be a little bit more careful. In college, I got a shitload that I've got to piece together. Love the college this week. But if Quad and AUKUS are football teams, I would know who they are. But I don't know. I assume these are terrorist groups you're asking me about, but I don't know. You'd have to give me more information. Anyway, I think that's about it. I hope you enjoyed it. Welcome the new guys. R2, nice to meet you. Feel free to, anytime. Luke, we're looking for $3,000 gold. So let's end the show on a high note. What's our gold at? Gold is 2673. I like rounding it. 2673. I am more than sure we're going to see 2,700 tomorrow. 32.03 for silver. I'll have to watch Mark McGuire. There's a point that the derivatives are holding. And if we break that point, we should see $50 an ounce silver finally. But it's just strange how all the prices are going up, and the dollar's going down, and silver's not moving. And nobody does shit about it. This is what's amazing to me, because it really shows you who's running the country. It's the banks. The banks run the government. The government does what the banks tell them. And JP Morgan runs the banks. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase. These are the gold banks, and they run everything. And it's just how it became to that. We're in the Constitution that says, oh, yeah, by the way, the banks are supposed to run the government. And there's supposed to be a central bank, even though there's not. Like, where the fuck does that all come in? And that's the problem. You've lost the whole concept of the Constitution. And it's crazy. So anyway, I'll be back tomorrow, Friday. Football. I have a college football class, 7 to 8. $25 to join that. You'll get all the picks and locks. 8 to 9, if there is enough people, we'll do a pro football class. One guy stood me up, so I don't know if I have a 9 o'clock class with this guy or not. It's very frustrating. You're waiting for somebody at the restaurant and they don't show, but they don't tell you they're not showing. What is that? So I don't know what to do with this guy. He came to me, so I don't know. We've had a few classes. He seems interested. He takes notes. He wants to learn how to pick. You came to the right person. I'm the best you could come to, but you got to come to him. I was busy. Well, I'm busy too. I'm teaching 2 classes, not including Friday nights, 2 or 3. So if you want, we'll have that tomorrow. So there'll be pros. Probably my normal football class would be like 10:30, followed by economics, followed by the college class for $25 and the pro class for $25, 7 to 8, 8 to 9. And then Saturday morning, 10 o'clock college, we'd go through the lines. And is Cam Rising playing? And then Sunday morning at 11, we go through the pro games. Not usually economics Saturday and Sunday because everybody's watching football. So that's what I'll do Friday afternoon, and then Monday more time. Anyway, I'm getting more comfortable with the teams, which means a lot more winners. So look out. Anyway, that's about it. Have a great night. www.teaserking.com. If you want the picks, just click and pay. I get an email. I know you paid. If you have a problem with the password, don't worry. You can email me. Don't worry. I'm there. I'm checking my emails for questions and payments and things like that. Anyway, have a good night. Relax. Enjoy. Buy your gold. Buy your silver. So if you don't own gold and this is what you can afford, then buy a bunch of silver. It's about to go. And otherwise, at least if you can't buy an ounce of gold at $2,800 an ounce, buy a half ounce or quarter ounce. I've been buying quarter ounces at 7 1/4. And if anything shows you the value of the dollar dropping, it's this, where it now takes $2,800 to buy an ounce of gold, where a little while ago it was $1,800, $1,900. And now you can see, but really this is the demand pushing the price up, not the value of the dollar going down. And yes, it takes $2,800 to buy the ounce of gold, but it's 26, it's 27. So yeah, it's just the normal function. But if you notice, silver's not going up, which doesn't make any sense. It's the inflation's heavy in here. And I love when Powell says, oh, it's 2%. We're going to lower interest rates. Yeah, I probably better start packing to move. Anyway, that's what's going on. Have a good night, everybody. Again, www.teaserking.com. I'll see you tomorrow. Again, you can get my email at teaserking.com. If you have any questions or comments, I want to buy gold, I want to buy silver. What do I think of this or that? I'm happy to keep an eye on it and answer those questions. Anyway, we'll get ready for some football. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed and learned, more importantly.